Hello, well, it's Scott Picken, and I'm coming from the magnificent Vic Bay in South Africa. It's one of the best surfing spots in the world, and it's a little bit windy, so I'm going to pan around quickly. You can see it's a tiny little spot with this incredible surfing all the way around, and I'm unfortunately not going to be able to stand with that view behind me because the wind is so strong. And so, last week for the Wealth Insight, we had happiness. I hope you really enjoyed that. Today I wanted to share with you something I learned last week from Jeff Bezos. Now, Jeff Bezos is the founder of Amazon. Amazon is one of two companies to go to $1 trillion along with Apple. And he says that it's really interesting. He says there's only 4 lessons that he can teach people in life. The first one is to obsess over customers. And so in your life, every single person has customers. Even if you're in a job, you have customers. You've either got external customers, or maybe your boss is a customer, or maybe one of the other divisions is a customer. Every single one of us has customers. And so if you obsess over your customers, I always say to my son, if you want to make money, you just have to figure out how to add value. I always say to my son, how do you make money? It's about adding value. And so for me, you have to obsess over your customers. You have to obsess over how to add value to your customers. And really for me, it's summed up by Zig Ziglar's principle. You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And so obsess over your customers, solve their problems, add value to them, and then you'll be able to have anything that you want. And so his number 1 principle is obsess over customers. His number 2 principle is invent. And so most people have black or white thinking. They think that it's either option A or option B. And what he says is that they always invent solutions where it can be option A and option B. They always believe that it doesn't have to be black or white, it can be both. And so in their perspective, they always obsess over the customers and they invent new solutions that the customers want. And like he says, the customers don't always know what they want. Henry Ford said if he gave his customers what they wanted, they would have asked for faster horses. And so they have to obsess over the customers and then invent the future for their customers. And it's really interesting because most people have a scarcity mindset. Most people have their thinking is within boxes. And so they think, well, that's the way it's been done. That's what I was taught before. I have to choose between option A or option B. And he's saying, no, invent a better future. If both options are what you want, then find a way to make both options happen. The third one is that it takes long-term thinking. Now, most companies are built for the next week, for the next quarter. They're trying to make a profit. They're trying to survive. They're trying to make revenue. And even if they're listed companies, they only really are as good as their results on a quarterly basis and trying to get their share price to grow. But what he says is that you should have a 5 to 7 year time frame. He says that often, they obsess over customers, they invent, and many of the projects that they put in place, it takes, it might add value to the customers straight away, but it can take 5 to 7 years before it starts to show returns for the company and for the shareholders. And so it's very important to be long-term thinking. Now, he's always been long-term thinking. He's always reinvested in the company. And that is why Amazon is $1 trillion company today. If you go to China, if you deal with Asian culture, they look at 50, 100-year business plans. Alibaba has a 50 and actually 100-year business plan. And so the question I have for you is, are you doing long-term thinking? Are you just worrying about tomorrow? Or are you thinking about what about the next 10 years? And remember that most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. And so really, what is your thinking? Is it short-term thinking or is it long-term thinking? And the last lesson, lesson number 4, is that every single day is day one. And what that means is no matter what you've learned, no matter what failures you've had, no matter what successes you've had, today is the first day of the future. It's the first day to get excited. You can take all your experience, all your lessons, your failures, and your wins. But today is the first day of the next chapter of your life. And I find that very, very exciting because, it always means that we're growing. It's all about having a growth mindset. I learned just yesterday from Roger Hamilton, if you want to build great companies, the way they've turned Microsoft around is to have a growth mindset. Not a limited mindset, a growth mindset. You always got to be growing. Every single day is day one. And so that's Scott Picken coming live here from Vic Bay for this week's Wealth Insight. I hope you enjoyed it. Some of the best lessons from Jeff Bezos, and obviously I extended on those with other metaphors and other lessons. And so you can see the surface behind here. It's a most magnificent view. I will just turn around one more time. I know it's quite noisy. You can see how magnificent this place is. I've actually just spent the entire day here planning. So I did all my business planning with a team, and now that I've done that, I've spent a day going through all my goals and doing all my goal planning. If you want to know more about that, go to the 8 steps micro degree. So the 8 steps to wealth through real estate. And one of the entire sessions is on goal planning. I've always used it. I'm not going to talk about it as a wealth insight, but it is so powerful in terms of creating the future you want. You know, Vincent van Gogh said, I dream my painting and then I paint my dream. You know, are you dreaming your life and then painting your dream? And that's what I've done all day in this incredible setting with the view of Vic Bay. So if you enjoy these wealth insights, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. We want to empower 1 billion people. I can't do it on my own. I ask you to go out there, share it with your friends. If you want to get more engaged in the community, join our inner circle, join the Wealth University, go to wealthuniversity.org, join the inner circle. If you want to learn more about the intersection of technology and property or real estate, you know, join the Digital Real Estate Mastermind. And you know, this month I'll be launching the Global Wealth Mastermind with 10 people who want to become global citizens. They're going to hold each other accountable and turn 2019 into a year that they won't forget. That's Scott Picken signing out from Vic Bay. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next week. Cheers.